It started with a flicker, a meaningless anomaly buried in the constant stream of space data, the kind scientists ignore every day. But then, from the backyard of an Australian home, comet tracker Michael Mattiato pointed his telescope upward and captured an image that stopped even NASA in its tracks. What he saw wasn't ordinary. Stretching across the sky was a tail 5 times wider than the full moon, an enormous streak of light too bright, too structured, and too strange to dismiss. This was no wandering rock, no frozen ball of ice. This was something else. They named it C/2025 R2 SWAN. But the truth is, from the very beginning, nothing about it behaved like a comet. Its glow pulsed like a heartbeat. Its orbit wasn't chaotic, it followed a schedule. And when the James Webb Space Telescope turned its gaze on this so-called comet, the illusion shattered. SWAN R2 wasn't natural at all. It was a machine. Astronomers first logged it on September 12, 2025. At first, the descriptions were vague, unusual cometary activity. But 2 days later, Mattiato's photo hit the internet, revealing its massive tail, dwarfing even the infamous 3I Atlas. Scientists rushed to classify it, but naming it wasn't the problem. Understanding it was. Atlas had behaved oddly, showing thrust-like emissions. SWAN R2 went further. Instead of shedding dust, it bent the solar wind itself, wrapped in a glowing plasma shield. Comets don't make shields, but machines might. Then Webb delivered the evidence no one could explain away. Its spectroscopy revealed metallic alloys, nickel and cobalt fused in ways never found in nature. Its tail wasn't ice at all. It was plasma exhaust, controlled and timed in deliberate bursts, and the energy, over 10,000 gigawatts per second, contained, stable, engineered. Even its orbit betrayed it. SWAN R2 wasn't random. It traced back 22,554 years. That means the last time it came close, humans were still in the Ice Age, carving myths into caves and aligning stones to Orion. Too precise for nature, the path of a programmed object. For a brief moment, it seemed like humanity might finally admit the truth. But within 72 hours, everything changed. NASA retracted Webb's data. The European Space Agency called it a natural comet. Chinese observatories claimed their instruments were under maintenance. Why the sudden silence? Inside the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, a memo leaked. It admitted SWAN R2 showed technological signatures inconsistent with natural origin, symmetry beneath its coma, propulsion-like emissions, patterns too controlled to be natural. But instead of transparency, the findings were buried. The cover-up only grew stranger. NASA quietly redirected Voyager 1's antenna, pointing it towards SWAN R2's projected path. Voyager, drifting 20 billion kilometers from Earth, hadn't been re-aimed in years. Why now? What were they expecting it to hear? And then the signals began. At first, faint disturbances in SWAN R2's plasma tail, but deeper analysis revealed something impossible. The pulses followed the Fibonacci sequence, the same spiral written into seashells, galaxies, and human DNA. Not random, designed. Worse, the timing was shrinking. The signals were accelerating like a countdown. The 8th burst was the most alarming, a blast rivaling a solar flare, but focused, not scattered, aimed directly through Earth's orbital plane. Governments moved in silence. Satellites shifted, military assets repositioned. Officially, nothing was happening, but behind closed doors, contingency plans were unfolding. The orbit raised darker questions. SWAN R2's cycle matched the era of humanity's first monuments. The pyramids, star-aligned temples, myths of gods from the sky. Were these ancient warnings? Did our ancestors witness its last approach? Were the myths not fantasy but memory? And the timing couldn't be ignored. SWAN R2 and Atlas were both on paths to converge near the Sun at the exact same time. 2 interstellar objects arriving together from opposite directions. Coincidence or choreography? When SWAN R2 disappeared behind the Sun, astronomers held their breath. 6 days later, it re-emerged, but not where predicted. It had shifted course, emerging near the Sun's southern pole. Then, without warning, it unleashed a gamma burst. For less than a second, SWAN R2 emitted more energy than the Sun produces in 48 hours. And it wasn't random, it was directional. aimed like a weapon. After that, its signals changed again. No longer Fibonacci pulses, but spiraling waveforms tuned to Earth's own frequencies, tectonic resonances, even the Schumann resonance, the electromagnetic heartbeat of the planet tied to human consciousness itself. SWAN R2 wasn't just communicating, it was resonating with Earth, with us. Then came the moment no one expected. Voyager 1, far beyond the heliopause, suddenly reoriented itself without command. Its antenna turned toward SWAN R2, as if it had heard the burst and responded. How could a probe, launched in 1977, react to something it wasn't programmed for? Unless it was. Unless Voyager was designed to answer when SWAN R2 returned. If so, then this wasn't SWAN R2's first visit. The implications were staggering. Had humanity, knowingly or not, already built a relay, an interstellar phone waiting to be answered? And if so, who told us how? James Webb delivered the most terrifying image yet. Hidden within SWAN R2's coma, for less than a second, a structure appeared. Perfectly smooth, perfectly round, metallic, with a central aperture like an iris, an artificial eye, watching. Researchers scrambled to decode the rest of its transmissions. What they found was worse than anyone expected. The harmonics matched Cold War satellite frequencies, as if SWAN R2 had been listening to us for decades. Even the famous "wow" signal from 1977 matched. And then came the map. Artificial intelligence decoded SWAN R2's pulses into coordinates. They pointed toward Lyra, and when radio telescopes followed, they detected faint echoes, signals bouncing back from something enormous. Maybe it isn't a threat, maybe it's a clock, a schedule, a moment they've been waiting for, across tens of thousands of years, when we would finally be ready to listen. Or maybe it is a threat, a warning we don't yet understand, because SWAN R2 isn't drifting into the void. It is active, and aligning with Earth in ways too deliberate to dismiss. So what is it really? A probe sent to collect data? A scout preparing the way for something larger? Or the spark of a first contact humanity has always dreamed of? Hit like, share this video, and subscribe for more.